North Carolina, Biden still with 62% reporting, sitting on a big lead, 53.9 to 44.9. So that's basically 54 to 45. It's a 9-point lead with 62% reporting in North Carolina. If Biden wins North Carolina, the election is not called, but it's right there. It's almost called. So that's how important North Carolina is. Anna, did you have more updates?
Yeah, so Biden has in North Carolina, according to the New York Times, Biden has a 7-point lead now with 65% reporting. But the New York Times forecasts that Trump has a 66% chance of winning that state.
Wow, that has swung. That's swung a lot. That's right. Wow. Okay, so that is not good news in North Carolina all of a sudden. Before you go on to more results, David, does that make you nervous?
Well, we're going to have to see. I did think that Biden had a measurable lead in North Carolina in the polling. It was pretty stable. So I wouldn't be shocked if Trump nipped him at the end, but it would be a little bit surprising. There's this northern tier that we don't have a lot of information about, except for Ohio right now, and that's sort of I think the if you're the Biden team, that's the story right now, is how well is that going to hold up in Ohio, and is that going to be extended out to that what was called in 2016 the blue wall, those states that were locked in allegedly for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, so this is frustrating. I'm sure that there's a real reason for it. It's not some sort of agenda or anything like that. But in Ohio, with 44% reporting, Biden has exactly a 10-point lead. That's where the Democrats are very excited. But for whatever reason, as they tell you the percentages in Florida, which turned out to be is so far true that Trump did have a good chance of winning, and they moved the percentages from Biden with a good chance of winning to not in North Carolina, they don't have a percentage chance of Biden winning in Ohio. So that's why that 10-point lead with the mail-in vote situation becomes harder to predict if it's a real 10 points or not, and if it's going to swing back or not. Just two quick calls here in the non-surprising category. Donald Trump has won Arkansas, and Tom Cotton has won re-election in Arkansas. He's of course a Republican there. He's one of the guys who's going to Iowa and South Carolina and those states already, game planning for Trump losing, or in fact, to be fair to him, or winning this time. It doesn't really matter. And he's planning on running in 2024. He's a terrible guy on policy, loves war, wants to bring back the Republican Party. It combined a noxious form of Trumpism with the horrific neoconservatism. So, if you think Ted Cruz is bad, he is, but Tom Cotton ain't any better. So watch out for that guy. Okay, if you guys have more updates, jump in. But meanwhile, I'm going to read one more comment here. Ash Cash Bagash. Oh, so you got one? Go ahead, David.
I can come in with something that's pretty interesting. Pennsylvania, we had this issue where they couldn't start counting the early vote, or at least preparing the mail-in ballots until 7 o'clock this morning. Montgomery County, which is outside Philadelphia, kind of a Democratic stronghold, just reported its early vote, and it was 74,000 for Biden and 8,000 for Trump. It was 89-10 in that early vote. Which is another example of how much different the composition of the electorate was in that early period relative to the election day vote. That's an incredible set of numbers.
Okay, I got a number that I'm definitely encouraged by. Ohio now up to 49% reporting, and now Biden is pulled up to a 12-point lead. So unless these numbers are coming in from completely Democratic areas and completely from mail-in voting, that's a hell of a lead to have with half of the vote reporting. So if that holds true, you don't have to worry about Florida, North Carolina, or anything else. That means
the important thing is what you were talking about, like with certain counties that are coming in blue, like Delaware County. Delaware County has not gone for a Democrat since 1916, and it's showing blue right now. This is the Columbus suburbs, and what we knew is that suburban voters was going to be this. It was a swing in 2018. You saw cities, suburban districts in like Oklahoma City and Charleston and Salt Lake City go to Democrats. Seeing a number like that in Delaware County or in Hamilton County, home of Cincinnati, but which also has a lot of outlying suburbs. Right now, with the early votes, 69-29. For Biden, that those numbers make me think that a lot of the things we thought about this election do seem to be coming through. Even if the Latino vote seems to be moving a little more towards Trump, particularly in South Florida.
So what we're seeing play out there is what people were talking about right before the election, that Trump was picking up a surprising number of Latino votes and getting a little bit better with African American vote, but Biden was picking up a lot more white votes and eating into Trump's base of non-college educated whites. Trump still had a big lead there, but less so than 2016. Most importantly, the suburbs that David was just talking about, seniors, Catholics. So Biden picking up more of those white voters leads to two different results. One is, at this point, there's still more white voters in America than minority voters. So if you're Biden and you're exchanging white voters for minority voters, just as a matter of pure math, you're in better shape and you would take that trade all day long. Do not do it as a matter of ideology and don't structure your policy around it. But electorally, that's a good thing. But the second phenomenon that's really important is, what state are we talking about? That's why you're seeing such disparate results here of, wait, why is Trump winning in Florida, but Biden has got a big lead in Ohio, when we thought it might be the reverse, that Biden had the lead in Florida and Trump had the lead in Ohio. Well, it's because of these demographic shifts that we're talking about. And we're gonna have to keep our eye on that and see and we also have to see it in terms of, is it a shift that's just specific to Biden and Trump? Or is it more of a trend for Republicans and Democrats? Because if Democrats could put Ohio back in their column in the long term, that would be nearly decisive, and that would be huge. But of course, yeah, go ahead, David.
I mean, the bigger issue would be if that comes to pass in places like Texas and Georgia. You are seeing similar issues with suburban voters in those states. Cobb County, which is likely to go to Biden. This is Newt Gingrich country. Clinton won it by 2 points, a pretty thin margin, with about a third of the vote in Cobb County is something like over 60% Biden. Williamson County, which is a fast-growing county outside of Austin in Texas. It looks like Biden is going to win that. Beto O'Rourke won that county in 2018. So this is a decided shift that's nationwide, no matter the state. You even see it in Florida, just not in South Florida. But Biden picked up counties like Duval and Pinellas that Clinton did not. There is a definite shift. It's not clear yet, as you said, Cenk, whether or not it's just for this election, just because of revulsion to Trump, or indicative of a broader shift. But Texas, I think, is still a very interesting state tonight, and so is Georgia.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.